Welcome again. Once again, we're excited to have you. I'm Christian Williams with NextGen. We're doing our interview series. I have Matt Mills with A&E Construction. We're going to dive into his day-to-day, kind of what got him into the industry, and we're going to go from there. Matt, good morning. How's it going?
Good. So far, so good.
Yeah. And what got you in the industry?
Gosh, this has probably been like 12 years ago. We built our own house. We built a house for ourselves.
Okay.
So previous to building, I've owned an insurance agency for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my clients had built their own house. So anyways, kind of talking to him about the process. We also had a neighbor at the time that had just built their own house. Anyway, long story short, started kind of talking to him about the process, and we had a lot of subcontractors insured. Went to a bank, can't believe they gave us money. Let us build our own house, and I did it once, and I told my wife, I was like, I love this. I'm like, this is fun. So we built that house. 2 years later, sold it, built another one, did it again and again and again. So yeah.
Absolutely. So has it mostly been, when did you move from 1 year to kind of expanding to what you are today?
So we built our own house for ourselves every 2 years for, I think, 8 years.
Okay.
And then my wife, kind of the way we got started this business altogether is she just said, I'm tired of moving. She said, you got to do something different. She goes, why don't you try building for somebody else? And I was like, I'm all about a challenge. So I'm like, yeah, let's try it. So we knew another builder that had a development and asked him if he'd let me build a spec in there. And he said yes, and the rest is history. So
Absolutely. Are you mostly spec, or do you do a little bit more custom, or what does your clients look like now?
So we are probably 95% custom.
Okay.
We currently have a spec now, but that's kind of rare for us. We might do a spec a year.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
most everything is a custom. The houses that we build are typically in that like $550,000 to $900,000 price range.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And what would you say in that 12 years that you've been in the industry, what have you learned from there? What are the changes that you've seen throughout that process?
Oh, I know I've changed a lot as a person. A lot of technological changes, changes with subcontractors. Just everything's changed. I've seen the largest change in the last 4 years, just with pricing, and then COVID and all that went into that, and supply chain, and really kind of helps you hone in on making sure you're ahead of the curve on things, especially with custom houses, or else it'll end up delaying the process in the end. So.
No, absolutely. And you've seen quite a bit of that change. Primarily with COVID. We kind of do business differently because of that. I think all of us as a whole are a little bit better at planning because of that.
Yes, which is good because, like I said, planning's a large part of getting a build done in a timely fashion. So it just kind of helped really hone in those skills and make sure that, like we always order windows when we dig the basement. Just, simple things that you might not need it quite that quick, but since we did it then, we've just implemented those things, kept those same systems in place, and that's still how we do it.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you started out with, you were the primary person with your company. Have you expanded past that? Is it just you and your wife, or what does your company look like from here?
So my wife, she says we're boutique builders, small kind of by design. It's just my wife and I. So I kind of manage the day-to-day and the subcontractors, and she does the design part of it, which is really what she enjoys.
Yeah.
So, and then billing and the rest of it, we kind of divide and conquer. So, but yeah, we usually start one house a month, and that's about all we want to handle, and just kind of keep a schedule and book it out a ways, and that's how we do it. So.
Yeah. And have you seen a change from the beginning of when you started building with your customers to now? Just how they perceive things, and then what they're looking for moving forward?
I'd say yes. As you build more houses and are more confident and comfortable and really understand it. I didn't go to school to be a builder, so I don't have that degree or background. It's just something I enjoyed. So just really learning, I really spent some time, learning a lot about a foundation and trusses and, roof trusses and why they're important. So, being able to explain that to somebody, why something costs more money or why it's better, I think has been a huge help too. So.
Absolutely. And how's WABA fit into that? When did you join WABA, and how has that helped grow what you are as a builder today?
So the buddy of mine that was a builder / developer that let me build that spec house, I basically did it initially because he was like, gotta join WABA, that's the way it works. And I said, that's perfect. How do I get that going? He helped me kind of get that started. And, since then it's just a really, really good avenue to use if you need it. And there's lots of information there and they back you up. So
is there anything specific that you guys like to do, maybe set yourself apart from other builders here in town?
Since we only do a certain number of houses, the customer, when they're building with us, they are getting my cell phone number, my wife's cell phone number. It's just a very hands-on experience.
Yeah.
We never say no as far as if they want whatever they want, we can make happen. I'm very, very fortunate that, we use the same subcontractors for every single house. So my trim guy, we do these trim walkthroughs and they show me a picture from Pinterest and he draws it on the wall and we make it happen. The painter, the tile guy, all the different subcontractors, we just really, really have a great relationship with them too.
Yeah.
And they care and they kind of know our level and our standard, and we just kind of hold ourselves to a high standard, I guess would be maybe something that's a little different. I think all builders care and have a high standard. I think I'm a little picky. So
yeah, absolutely. And that personal touch that you have with your customers, getting to know them and their vision is kind of moving forward.
Sure, because there's so often that somebody thinks they know what they want, but they don't actually. And then you go to that, Sabrina goes to that tile meeting with them, and they're like, actually have zero idea.
Yeah.
So, being able to sidestep and go to Pinterest or start looking, or just, her style, inputting it with or mixing it with their style and being able to get the product they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think is something kind of unique too. So.
Yeah, helping them kind of see their own vision that they have in their heads. I mean, sometimes it takes somebody else outside to help you discover that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what would you say for somebody maybe wanting to get involved with building, somebody who's never done it before, kind of where you were 12 years ago?
So I'd say it's super fun and go for it. As far as something I could say that'd be helpful, I was super fortunate in that, I kind of mentioned his name again, but the builder, Eric, that kind of helped me get started, man, he was an open book, and I would do the same thing for somebody else. But just even being able to have like a budget and some spreadsheets and some initial, how do we actually bid this appropriately? We spend a lot of time, or I spend a lot of time in the bidding process. We meet with the customer several times. We do plans, but then once we have the plans, we meet and talk about every single room. So that way, when I'm in this bidding process, I don't like the constantly being over budget scenario.
Yeah.
So we kind of really hammer that out initially and make sure that we have tile in the rooms that are supposed to have tile and wood in the rooms that are supposed to have wood. Having that information, customers appreciate. So I would tell a newer builder, like, hey, make sure you bid it appropriately, so you don't constantly just change.
Yeah,
So.
Absolutely. And WABA is a great avenue for that. I mean, when you are looking for somebody who has a little bit more experience in the industry, and you just need to feed off of them to kind of get an idea of where you should move forward. I mean, it's a fantastic avenue for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what do you see as advantages of WABA, somebody who is getting into the building, and then somebody who's also been in the building for quite a while, like yourself?
WABA has tons of programs that are available to help you. They have a great network system. And, who all is in WABA. So if you have a question, you can get that information from that builder. It's just a great, great resource to be able to help back up your business. There's a ton of builders in there that are absolute wealth of knowledge, and they are an open book. You can just kind of reach out and ask your question to make sure that you are doing things the way that you want them to be done. Or, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. It's tried and true. They've been doing it for a long time. Just take information from them and implement it into what you do.
Absolutely.
So.
And you talked a little bit about how many houses do you guys try to do a year?
We try and do like 12, 14.
Okay. Is that kind of your happy number? Is that where you guys want to stay at, or do you guys see yourself doing more later on?
That's really our happy number.
Happy number.
That gets us one house a month, and that's the pace we like to go at.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the growth where you're at. Mm-hmm. We've seen a little bit of a slowdown now. How's that affected you? Where do you see kind of moving forward? Is that something that somebody coming into the industry, how have you kind of navigated navigated that?
We've been really fortunate in that, and it seems like in the price point that we're in, it really hasn't had a large effect.
Okay.
That being said, I mean, gosh, you never know what 6 months from now is gonna bring. So I would say use WABA as a resource, figure out what price points are moving,
Yeah.
and try and build in that price point. We started out with a little bit less expensive home to start, just to get our feet wet and see what that felt like, and then quickly, elevated a couple of price points from there. So I don't know if a lower price point is a great way to start, or like I said, just use WABA as a resource and figure out what's moving, and I'd build in that price point for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about your spec. So is that something that you have in the Parade of Homes coming up, or?
So we have a spec currently. It's in Cedar Ranch. It is. It will not be in the Parade of Homes. We have a model in the same neighborhood that will be in the Parade of Homes that are both for sale. So it was something where we had a hole in our schedule, and we're like, hey, let's do a spec. We never do one, so that's what we did. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Matt. It was a lot of fun getting to know you and your business a little bit more. Thank you again for tuning in. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to myself or Tyler or WABA as well. If you're interested in being a part of this video series, please reach out to us as well. We'd love to have you in the seat. Thank you so much.